Pets Add Life, your guide to the latest in pet trends, products, and the joy of the human-animal bond, with Kristen Levine and Chris Bonifati, powered by the American Pet Products Association and Dog TV.
Alrighty, welcome to the 23rd episode of Pets Add Life, the podcast with your hosts, Kristen Levine, that's me, and Chris Bonifati. Hey, Chris.
That's me.
How you doing today?
I am doing great. We had some tech issues rolling into this episode, so we already have the giggles. I'm sure that the energy's unhinged.
Yeah,
the energy's
it is.
unhinged.
Off the charts.
No, normally we have to build up to something, but I feel like we've gotten a lot of that out of our system, so we're here full of energy. Episode 23. I can't believe 23 episodes. We've been doing this for, what's that, almost half a year now.
You're right.
That's insane. That's crazy.
26 will be half.
So many great guests, so many great stories, so many great products. And guess what? We're going to bring you some more. We've got some awesome guests this episode. I don't want to give away too much, but I did want to prompt us by saying, do you guys know dogs can surf? We're going to get a little bit into that this episode. We're going to give you 2 stories, 2 products, and answer 2 of your questions. So hold on to your cats, dogs, and horses, and let's jump right on into this episode of the PAL Podcast.
Kristen and Chris present Storytime.
All right, well, as usual, we're going to kick it off with Storytime, and I really like my story today. I'm really excited about it.
Is that implying that you don't always like your story?
No, it's just what I always like my story, but when I stumbled on this story, I thought this is really cool, and it's a cat story, so you're gonna love it.
Oh, okay,
you're
awesome.
A cat guy. So this is about rescue jobs for cats.
Okay.
Now, so that's the teaser right there. Now I'm gonna tell you where I'm going with this. So there is a brewery in New York City called the Torch and Crown Brewery, and they are the latest business to put a rescue cat to work as part of a brand new adoption program through the, what's it called? It's the Hard Hat Cats Rescue Group and Animal Care Centers of New York. These 2 rescue groups have collaborated to create a really unique adoption program for adult cats. And as you probably know, Chris, during the summertime, shelters and rescues are loaded with cats and kittens. And it's really a tough time for them. And so what they found is that they always have the harder to adopt cats that might, typically it's because they're less social. The kittens get adopted instantaneously, and then the very social cats that kind of get your attention when you're at the shelter, those are the ones that get adopted first. But these less socialized or less outgoing cats tend to be harder to adopt. So they created this program for businesses to adopt these cats so that they kind of go to work at, in this case, the brewery, but they're also placing cats in retail shops, in luxury hotels, and breweries, just to name a few. And this is really working out well. And I just thought that was such a great solution to finding homes for these cats that are having a little bit tougher time.
Well, that's awesome. I know in New York, there is a big culture around bodega cats, but it seems now that we're getting brewery cats, which will be a most welcomed addition. As a brewery hopper myself, I think when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, what can make this better? What can make this experience better? Yes, a cat. A cat could make this experience better.
Next time you're in the city, you're going to have to check out the Torch and Crown Brewery, because they adopted not 1, not 2, but 3 rescue cats. And they even created one of their craft beers after the one cat whose name was King Elizabeth, not Queen Elizabeth, King Elizabeth. So,
King Elizabeth.
Check it out.
It's 2024. It's King Elizabeth. That's great. Well, there's breweries and cats does kind of go hand in hand. We have we have a brewery in Connecticut here called Fat Orange Cat Brewery. That started off as like a 1 beer brewery inspired by this person's fat orange cat. And now they have all sorts of cat themed brews. So cats and beer go hand in hand. And I'm glad to hear that some of these cats are finding their passion as brewers.
Yeah, exactly. All right. What's your story, Chris?
My story, as I was scouring the internet for something interesting, I saw a story that included Jennifer Aniston. And because I am a weak 32-year-old male, I clicked the link. But Jennifer Aniston has a relatively famous dog named Clidio, who has something like 1 million Instagram followers, something ridiculous like that, right? Like when the celebrity gets a pet and then everybody loves the pet. So Jennifer Aniston has decided that she is going to write some children's books featuring Clidio. The first one being Clidio Takes a Bite Out of Life. I suppose Clidio must be related to Scruff McGruff, the famous detective who took a bite out of crime.
Right.
But these are going to be 4 books for release on October 1st. A deliciously fun-filled journey of self-discovery and self-confidence. And get this, Clidio will be discovering that he is actually quite a talented cook.
Really?
I love when these children books involve real life animals, because it is very great for a kid to see some of their fiction come to life. Think about like how excited kids get at Disney.
Yes.
And they can meet and interact with Mickey Mouse and Goofy and all those guys. So when they read about this dog and then can see some of the videos of Clidio doing some other dog stuff, it really becomes an engaging experience for children. I'm a firm believer that animals and kids should be raised together. It builds empathy and responsibility.
100%.
And all those great things. So check it out, October 1st. And I'm just, I'm a sucker for Jennifer Aniston. What can I say? So that's the reason the story got clicked. But the reason that I'm presenting it on the podcast is because I do believe kids can learn a lot from animals, and I think it's a great opportunity.
Awesome.
Beyond the Leash, exploring the untold stories of pet passion and professionalism.
I'm really excited to talk to our next guest, Chris, because she's with Trusted Housesitters, which is a really cool platform that I've been super intrigued by. So Angela Laws is a community manager at Trusted Housesitters. Now, this is an organization that connects pet owners with reliable sitters all over the world. Now, Angela has a wealth of experience in both pet sitting and house sitting, and she's traveled extensively caring for pets and homes all over the globe. Her passion for animals and commitment to building a trusted community of pet sitters and owners make her a valuable voice in the pet care industry. So with that, let's welcome Angela. Hi, Angela.
Hi, Kristen. Hi, Chris. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're delighted to have you. And we were chatting before we brought you on, and we learned that you're a Canadian that lives in Scotland, but you're pet sitting today in the south of England. So you do get around.
Yeah, I'm looking after Lenny, who is a 8-month-old Labrador puppy, and I arrived with him on Sunday, and I'm with him for 2 weeks. So in those 2 weeks,
you are so lucky.
I know. In those 2 weeks, I haven't laughed as much in the last 3 days for a long, long time. This little boy he's a big boy actually, is keeping me happy.
I'll bet. Well, you didn't know this, but Labradors are my favorite dog breed. As a matter of fact, my husband and I have had about 5 of them over the course of our time together, and we're actually looking to adopt another one soon. So I can't. You promised we could have a sneak peek at Lenny at some point during this chat.
Absolutely. All I have to do is say treat, and I think say that.
There it is.
Well, let's get down to business. Tell us a bit about how Trusted Housesitters started and how does it work?
Okay, we started in 2010 and actually born in where I am right now in Brighton in England. And it was the dream of a young man who loved animals, loved to travel and liked to put the two together. And he wanted to build a community of pet lovers and pet people who would care for animals as if they were their own and not charge a fee, because our sitters choose to do this for free. And he wanted to connect like-minded people, that's pet parents and sitters, to enable each side to travel with absolute peace of mind for the pet parents and for the sitters to experience authentic travel, unlike traditional travel. But also the main thing, part of it, is having that pet companionship, which for so many people is part of their life. And for so many, for one reason or another, they can't have pets of their own. So this brings together those pets, people, and places in with a synergy that works and works like magic. And so, yes, we've been going for 14 years. We have over 220,000 members across 130 countries. And we've got thousands of pet sits going on every day all around the world.
That is pretty impressive.
Yeah, you mentioned that it's sort of like a barter system there, that there's no money changing hands. So can you go a little bit into a little bit more detail on how this process works, what exactly goes into it, maybe from both the pet parent side and the pet sitter side?
Absolutely, Chris. And yes, no money changes hands. It's a fair and mutual exchange. The only money that changes hands is when those pet parents or the sitters come to the site and join the community. There's a membership fee. There's an annual membership fee. There's 3 tiers of membership, and the membership starts at $129 for the year. And for that year, you have access to as many pet sits as you want, or as many pet sitters. So you can use it as much as you want for the whole 12 months. And then what happens is each side creates, the pet parents creates a listing, the pet sitters create a profile, and it's actually just bringing and matching those two so that you get the sitter who can meet the expectations of the pet parents, can meet the pet's needs, which is the most important, and that everybody has a satisfactory and successful sort of experience. And nothing is ever finalized until both sides have done all of their due diligence, if you like, and had those conversations and had that communication. Then when everybody is 100% happy that this is right for them, then an agreement is made, and that's when all the finer details are brought together.
And that's such a brilliant ecosystem that you're offering at Trusted House Sitters. Can you talk a little bit about how you can ensure the safety for the pet parents who are traveling and looking for a sitter for their home? They've never met these people typically, I assume. So how can folks that are looking for a sitter be, assured that these people have been vetted?
And that's an excellent question, Kristen. And it's actually one that is forefront of most people's minds before they actually find out how it works. And so it's like, oh, whoa, stranger in the home. However, there is a process in place through the site. And once that process is followed, for example, every member of the site has an ID check. Sitters are ID verified, and those sitters in the United States have a full background check. There are other sitters who have a background check. The one thing that everybody looks at these days are reviews and references. And our sitters will have reviews from previous pet parents of sits that they've done. If they're new to the platform, it doesn't mean to say they're not experienced and they're not to be trusted, but they may not have those reviews from Trusted House Sitters. However, they will have references, and every sitter has to upload at least 3 references before they can actually become active. And so we have these steps in place, and we have this process, and on the site there's all this information, so that we then say communication is the biggest part of this. And once you do all the communication, what a pet parent is doing is making an educated decision on the information that's available to them, plus that information on the sitters. It's not like getting somebody off the internet that you've just seen there, I'd like to come and visit your house and come in. I've been with Trusted House Sitters since the very beginning for 14 years, and I've been pet sitting, and I never ever take for granted that trust that is put in me by a pet parent when I go into a home. But before I go into that home, I've had so much communication that I know all about the pet, I know all about the home, I know about the pet parents, but equally they know about me. And during that conversation, we recommend that there are video calls. We recommend there are numerous, copious amounts of communication, because if anything goes wrong, and it does happen, it's usually because the communication wasn't done properly, and all the T's weren't crossed and the I's weren't dotted. But you would do that with anybody that was coming into your home. If you were getting a nanny for your children, if you were getting a decorator coming in and you were going to go off to work and leave them the house and they were decorating, you wouldn't just open the door to anybody. You'd make sure that you did all of those checks. And as I say, on the site. But the other thing that we have is we have a membership services team that is available 24/7. So any questions that if somebody's not sure about something before they make that commitment, they can go to membership services and be walked through. But what we find is, because we've got this very unique and special community, they help one another. The experienced sitter, for example, will help the inexperienced pet parent sort of walk through the process and help as much as they can, because it's to everybody's advantage that there is a successful experience for everybody, mainly because of the animals as well.
That's amazing, Angela. And you said you've been doing this for 14 years
Yes.
and pet sitting likely before that. So I imagine you've been in a lot of homes, met a lot of amazing families and animals. Is there a particular story that stands out for you, a visit that you had that really touched you, made you feel rejuvenated and inspired about doing this for a living, something that really stands out that you could share with our listeners?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that doesn't, the stories that we have, and it is that connection that you make with like-minded people, but it's the animals as well, and those contacts and the communication and that connection. And I did a sit in New York. I was there for 6 weeks, and the apartment that I sat and the pet parents I sat for, the apartment was actually previously owned by the Kennedy family. And I was going to be there for 6 weeks looking after 2 dogs and a cat. And Alfie was a therapy dog, and Mitzi was a miniature dachshund, and then the Norwegian forest cat. And so we were there. And one day when I was leaving, a young concierge walked out with me and helped me into a cab. And as I got into the cab, he said to me, "Have a nice day, Mrs. Kennedy." I mean, he had no idea. And I looked at him and I said, and he had his name tag on, and I said, "Thank you, Michael, and you." And for the next couple of weeks, before somebody took him to a side and said, "Actually, it's not," he called me Mrs. Kennedy. And I didn't like to go, "You know what, you're mistaken. That was my moment of fame." But I think the most important part of that story is that was in 2011. I sat for that couple of pet parents 2 months ago in San Diego, because they sold New York and they moved to San Diego. They have a home in Rancho Santa Fe, and I've been back to sit for them 8, 9, 10 times. They now have another little dog called Casey, and I also have a key to a casita that they have, and that is my home whenever I'm in town, whether I sit for them or not. And it's those relationships that we make. I have a sit in London this summer, and when I first looked after the cat, she was a 6-month-old kitten. She's now 14, and I'm looking after her again this year. And so all of these relationships and this dynamic that happens within this community, I truly believe that it's purely because we are a community with animals at the heart of what we do.
Absolutely. And I think what's so amazing about Trusted House Sitters is it not only we focused a lot of our talk about, from the pet parent's perspective, but for you as a pet sitter or any of the other folks who are interested in sitting, you have an opportunity to travel the world and to meet amazing people that, like you said, all have that same love for animals in common, which bonds us immediately, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's a slow form of travel. You actually connect with a community, and it's like living in a community. I mean, I'm here in Hove for 2 weeks. I'm not in one hotel room. I don't have to leave because housekeeping want to make my room up. I don't have to eat at expensive restaurants. I have my Wi-Fi. I have everything. I can do laundry. I can sit in the garden with a glass of wine. But more importantly, I have this I'll get him up in a minute. I have, this lovely pet companion, and there is so much research on how pets actually improve your life and lifestyle. I work remotely, I work all the time. And when I'm pet sitting, they actually give me a work-life balance that I wouldn't have otherwise. I have to walk in the morning, whereas when I'm at home in Scotland in my own house, my commute is down the stairs into my office and I sit there in front of my devices. But when I'm here, the first thing I have to think about is walking around the garden with Lenny to make sure that he does what he needs to do in the morning and then get back and feed him. So it gives you a different perspective, and it actually gives you something, it gives you purpose. You're traveling with purpose.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, I'm 100% sold
Me too.
on this program. I'm sure that there are plenty of people listening into the podcast right now who are thinking, this sounds nice. This is something I want to do. So do you have any advice for somebody who may be a bit green when it comes to house sitting, who wants to get started and become a trusted member of the Trusted House Sitters and start this journey?
Absolutely. I mean, we have a community forum, and there are experienced sitters on there and experienced members and pet parents that are having conversations all of the time. And how do I get started? And that's one of the main questions with somebody who's doing this. How do you get started is, first of all, you have to be a pet lover, obviously. You also have to be somebody who likes people and a good communicator, because that's important too. You have to be trustworthy. You have to be reliable. You have to know yourself. And I think pet sitting teaches you so much about yourself. You also have to be experienced in and with the pets that you intend to care for. If you have no experience, for example, if you want to start this and you've got no experience, go volunteer with a shelter and get to know what it's like to be around animals for the first time, and ones that are not yours. And the other thing that we do advise is anybody who joins the site is to start locally, so that you can be there and you can go and meet the pet parents and do short sits, do something, just to find out if that lifestyle is yours and it's what you want to do. So often, you might be drawn in by the exotic locations and those wonderful places, and you want to get on a plane and fly for 10 hours to go somewhere. And when you get there, you go, oh, didn't realize it was this humid, didn't realize mosquitoes existed, didn't realize this, that. I think you have to know yourself, and you have to have, you have to have realistic expectations to start with. But you will always find somebody to help you on the website with membership services, and experienced members are willing to share their knowledge. And so one thing about it is you're in a community and you're not alone.
Fantastic. Well, I know we'll have the Trusted House Sitters website in the show notes, but just tell us what it is real quick. And then you have to show us Lenny before we let you go.
I will. I promise. It's trustedhousesitters.com, and we are on social as well, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. And we have the community forum, so you can find us along all the channels. And I'm now going to say, Lenny.
The moment we've all been waiting for.
Come on, here you go. Right.
Lenny, where is he? Oh, there he is. Oh, is he cute? He is a big boy for a puppy.
He is.
He's beautiful.
He's going onto his beanbag now.
There we go.
Yes.
That looks comfy.
Well, Lenny's lucky to have you, Angela, to sit for him. And we're lucky to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for your time and for explaining this fantastic opportunity for both pet parents and for people who want to travel and be those caretakers of people's homes and their beloved pets.
And thank you so much for sharing the love about animals all the time. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. We'll see you again.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
It was great having Angela on. Finding a pet sitter can be stressful. I'm lucky enough that I have some close friends and family nearby who could watch after Tiger when Hope and I are away. But I could not imagine having to find a person who is trusted to come into our home, take care of the cat, and all of those things. So that's an absolutely astounding service. And if I'm ever in need, I know exactly where I'm going to turn.
Yeah, not only that, if you want to travel and not, Well, I guess you'd have to pay to get to the location, but you don't have to pay to stay in an Airbnb or a hotel.
Yeah.
So it's just a great opportunity for those who want to travel and love pets too. So
Yeah, looking at
definitely check it
you,
out.
recent college grads who are not ready to settle into the corporate world quite yet. Looking at you, maybe some young retirees who are looking to do a little bit of travel. Check it out. I think it's really cool.
Pets add life.
I'm proud to introduce here David Fasoli, the proud owner of Isa, a surfing French Bulldog. How about that? David and Isa have been making waves in the dog surfing community for the past 4 years. This dynamic duo is gearing up for the World Dog Surfing Championships in Pacifica, California on August 3rd. That's just a few days away. David's dream for Isa is to one day live in a cozy beach house in Santa Cruz. Doesn't that sound nice? An awesome relationship you must have with that dog. But welcome, David and Isa, to the PAL podcast.
Thank you very much. Well, we're here from Pleasanton, California, and we're honored to be talking to you guys and answer any questions that we might be able to answer for you. Maybe get excited, maybe get your dog into something new. Yeah.
Awesome. So why don't you tell me a bit about how you and Isa got started with dog surfing, what inspired you to sort of take up this unique sport, and maybe how Isa took to it at first?
Sure. So once again, first of all, thank you for having us. Thank you, World Dog Surfing, for having that event, Nesmith.com for being the major sponsor this year. I just want to thank everyone for that. How Isa and I actually got started was Isa's only 4 years old. So right before COVID kind of hit, I had gotten her, and I had the opportunity to have some time off of work. And so I love the beach for some internal peace, meditation, things to that nature. Isa was just this little peanut of a dog, and I went quite a bit. Little to my surprise that there we are in Sunny Cove, Santa Cruz, that waves would be crashing over her and she would be loving it and jumping in for more and more and more. Because it was COVID, I kind of caught the attention of some surfers up on the shore, up on the cliff, and they said, "Well, has she ever surfed, or have you ever tried it?" And one of the surfers brought down his little skimboard, and I said, "Yeah, go ahead." She was just this little thing, and sure enough, she jumped on it and showed interest in it. Following that, I got this surfboard at Costco, and I put it in the pool, and she'd jump in on that and run up and down it, and then out on the lake. She always wanted to be in the boat or by, on the tug behind. So put all those combined together. I got this random email of what to do in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. And it happened to be a World Dog Surfing in Pacifica email. And it said, you can enter your dog. And I said, oh my God. So I kind of put all the pieces together. The only thing I really didn't do was have Isa on a surfboard in the ocean. It was kind of the only thing I didn't really connect with. And so off I went, and we did it a handful of times before we entered the contest. And the first year we up against Skylar and Cherie, we got third place in her heat. She got first place in fetching. And then the story goes, we got invited down to San Diego to another event, Huntington Beach for another event this year, World Dog Surfing again this year. So this will be our third year. And nonetheless, we are learning much each and every time we do.
Oh, it's clear that Isa was born to surf. I mean, it's just like you shared your story of how she would just get tumbled over in the surf, and here she is at such a young age being a champ. So tell us a little bit, David, how the surfing competition with World Dog Surfing Championship has strengthened that bond between you and Isa.
So it's a lot about trust, right? And, it's for me, and I hear this with some of the other dog surfers too, is if she didn't want to do it, she wouldn't do it. It's really tough to kind of drag your dog out and put them on a board and go for it. So French Bulldogs are usually not known to swim. Mine got really comfortable around the water. And it's just really kind of repetitive, just being repetitive with her, building her confidence, building my confidence. And the bond that forms is just something really magical, whether you're winning, whether you're losing, because it's really not about that. It's about raising money for other dogs in need. So it's just a really awesome feeling to know that you can have a bond with your animal.
Sure.
And the trust within that.
She must get so excited when she knows it's about time to surf.
She does. The board's right behind me. If I lay on my floor in my place, she'll want to sit on them and lay on them. And she also likes doing supboarding with us too. So she's always on the supboard and cruising around as well.
That's awesome. So I'm curious about the actual ins and outs of the competition. You were mentioning that there were heats. There's different types of competitions. How exactly does the competition work? How is it scored? What are the different types of events that you can enter into?
So there's obviously 3 different events. World Dog Surfing has, if you enter your dog, you are paired up with the heat, which is usually by weight, or it is by weight. And then there are certain heats. So however many dogs actually, enter. And you can just go to Eventbrite and you can go to worlddogsurfing.com. You can check it out on Facebook, Instagram, at World Dog Surfing. And anyone can enter. Anyone can do the fetching contest. There's a fetching contest. There's a dress-up contest. There is the dog surfing contest, which is the competition, and they just pair you up for heats, and then you surf a 10-minute heat each, and it's scored by the judges that are selected by the planner of the event. It's usually surfers that have been in the business for a long time, and you surf about 10 minutes. You try to get your best waves. And then whoever advances all the way to the championship, and then that's how you come out winning or not winning.
That's great. Yeah, it seems like there's kind of something for everybody there. Even if your dog isn't necessarily the best surfer, if you got a killer outfit, you still might walk home a champion. Yeah.
I believe the way I like to see it is that all dogs are championships there. When you show up on Pacifica and like 10,000 people show up on that little beach it's just real amazing to see how many dog owners and dogs and people that are coming out to really support us and the fans. Like, I never knew that. Isa was in a book this year. She's going to be in a coloring book. We're down with Purina Pro. So we're on, we're the face of the poster of the World Dog Surfing. There's a poster that we're on it. There's different dogs selected this year. So in the short 3 years that we've been kind of surfing, it's been quite cool experience outside of just the surfing part.
Yeah.
There's a few other surf dogs that got coloring books out and do book signings. There's other, it's just all kinds of doors have opened up for
just a regular celebrity.
Exactly. So, David, I'm sure a lot of our listeners have never heard of dog surfing before, but what kind of advice would you give to someone who is thinking, hey, maybe this is something my dog and I can do together, and I'm near a beach where we can do this? What would you say?
So down south in San Diego, if you're down that area or up and down the whole coast, first and foremost, we would definitely like to give the advice of safety first. Make sure your dog has the proper life jacket, fits right, snug right. And obviously the right board, that takes a little bit for even us. It's a third year was switching out boards and finding the right boards and doing things of that nature. I like to prepare myself as much as that gives the confidence. If I feel like I'm prepared and dressed right and with everything, all the safety gear, and my dog is, the confidence that builds to succeed. And I would also start by potentially pool, maybe bringing your dog just to the beach to get them accustomed to the waves and the sounds of the beach, and then the pool, and put your dog on a pool on a board and see how that works, and kind of transition right into the ocean.
So it's open to I'm sure there are all different types of breeds and mixed breeds that do this, right?
Correct. There is golden doodles, there is min pins, there is pit bulls, there is chocolate labs, and the list goes on.
So, we get all these dogs over at the beach for this competition. There's crowds, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of positive energy. How does Isa and the other dogs there, how do they react to being in sort of that situation where all eyes are on them and it could be a little hectic? I know a couple of dogs in my retinue that would not be able to remain disciplined and would just be going absolutely buck wild. So how does Isa react to that sort of crowd energy?
It seems like all our dogs seem to be like just a little when it comes to, the competition and everything else. Some of them are a little showboaty. Some get the real high energy. Isa goes into like, I want to fetch everything. But it's like once you put on her vest, and this is for me, I can speak on our behalf of our team. I'm not sure about everybody else's. I know there's Charlie. He has this like lunchbox cooler thing. When that comes out, he's ready. There's other dogs that when you pull them out of the crate and you put on a certain life vest, that means let's go. We're ready to go. And at the end of the day, they all kind of put smile on. Everybody's a little different, and they all put smile on people's faces. Everybody has their own little story. One was found, in a parking lot. One of our surf buddies, Faith, Derby has the blue mohawk. Him and his owner have the blue mohawk. And they're retiring this year. And, there's Carson who, he's just got this cool little board and matching suit. And he's just this little adorable thing. And he likes to get on his board and surf. So there's a little min pin that they dress up as Batman or sometimes as a cheetah and all their outfits. So on a board, it just puts smiles on people's faces. And that's what it's about.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like it. I can't stop smiling just listening to this.
It's such a great image in my head.
Yeah, and it's great that she's so young, so she's got a lot of years ahead of her. What are your hopes and dreams for Isa in this world of surfing competition?
I kind of wondered that too. Like, how did I end up at my age, with a surfing French Bulldog? Like 4 years ago, I didn't wake up one day and say, hey, this is how it's going to envelop. It just it kind of organically happened. And so the future for us is just, as much as that she enjoys it, then I will take her to do the events that we do. And each one is individual to itself. So they all offer something different and a different up and down the coast. And it's just wonderful. So I will keep doing it until she or I decide that it might not be, the best for us to continue on and to retire and just continue doing beaches and lakes and rivers and everything else that we continue to enjoy.
That's great. And clearly like this whole entire concept just brings so much joy and happiness to both the competitors and the crowd. But for some of our listeners who may be in the Pacifica area, are they able to come spectate? How can they get involved?
They can come spectate. There is the beach. It's completely free for any of the fans to come down. The traffic obviously backs up a little bit. If you get there a little bit early, you'll definitely get the beach spot. It's in the really cool spot of Pacifica. It's right between the Taco Bell, one of the most picturesque Taco Bells. And it goes right into Rockaway Ricky, which is a memorial foundation for one of the old dogs that used to surf there as well. So right up and down that coast is, it's free for everybody to come. You can donate to Rocket Rescue, which is usually one of the supporters of that. And there's a bunch of vendors that for all your dogs to kind of come up and check out toys and foods and just a plethora of really cool things. And you get to meet a bunch of different dogs dressed up in a bunch of different costumes and a bunch of different people. So
that is perfect day to me.
It's awesome what that community has built over there. So if you're in the area, you want to check out surfdogchampionships.com. You could see a little bit more information, see some of the charities that this event is supporting. It's free to attend. So if you're in the area, I mean, I am right now, I've always said East Coast, Beast Coast, but it's seeming like West Coast, Best Coast right now with the surfing dogs.
It is one of the only coasts that kind of has the events on it. So yeah. So that's pretty cool as well.
David, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been eye-opening. I am in love with the concept. Good luck to you.
And best of luck to you and Isa.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys take home the gold. And even if you're not, I'm sure Isa will be all smiles.
Yeah, we're going to win no matter what. That's what it's all about. Thank you guys. Thanks Bulldog Surfing. Thank Nesmith. I appreciate all you guys.
All right. Take care, David. Thank you.
Bye.
Hang 20. Hang 20.
Hang 20.
Thanks, you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.
So, Chris, I have to tell you, I actually went to the World Dog Surfing Championships about, probably 8 or 10 years ago when Dog TV was there. And it was so much fun.
I'm so jealous.
Oh, it was so cool.
I'm filled with envy. Not just for the dogs, but that picturesque Taco Bell. I'm just seeing it in my head. I'm seeing it in my head. I got my Crunchwrap Supreme in one hand, Mountain Dew Baja Blast in the other. I'm watching all these dogs just thoroughly enjoying themselves. I'm supporting a charity. Honestly, it seems perfect.
Life does not get any better than that.
It truly doesn't.
The product of the week.
All right, my product of the week. Product of the week. I got a pretty cool one this time. I was looking all over since I saw that we were going to be having Angela on the show this week and wanted to find something cool for somebody who had to leave their pet at home. So what I found here is a product called Playdate. It's pitched as the world's first pet camera in a smart ball, which is just nonsense. I'm going to explain what that is. So basically what you get is this toy. It's a ball in this clear plastic shell, and in it is a gyro balanced camera. So you connect it to your phone, and you could control the ball from your phone, see your animal as it plays with the toy. There's some buttons on there that it makes some noises, some squeaks or yips or whatever, sort of gets your dog involved. I believe you could actually speak through it as well, so you can give it your voice. And what's really cool about this product, because you think, my dog is going to tear that thing to pieces. You're right. It probably will, but it uses this polycarbonate, I think that's the word for the type of plastic, outer shell that protects it, and that's actually replaceable. So as that outer shell gets worn out, you just go ahead, buy a new shell, pop it on. It charges in just a couple hours. It offers live footage in HD, controlled straight from your phone. So I know I kind of beat the whole nanny cam into people. When you're leaving your animal at home, it's always good to have an eye on them. But this is a really unique way to sort of engage with your animal, especially if you have a more active animal or a cat who sort of suffers from boredom, needs to be stimulated more often at home. I think it's just like one of those really great solutions. The link for the product is going to be in your show notes as always. I just thought it was really cool, especially since they thought of that outer casing, because a lot of these smart toys, once it's wrecked, you got to get an entirely
a whole new toy.
Yeah, a whole new toy. So they sort of thought of that. It's going to have some longevity there.
That's cool. What was it called again?
It's called the Playdate.
The Playdate. Okay.
So that's all one word as a brand, Playdate.
I love that. All right, so here's this is not a specific toy. It's rather a kind of a collection of toys from a company called Lamb Wolf Collective. Lamb, LAMBWOLF, one word. And, this company kept showing up in I forget even which social media feed it was, but they have the most beautiful, like the toys, they're enrichment toys and plush toys, and they're so beautifully done. Just the colors, the aesthetic is amazing. And so I got kind of curious. So I went to check out their website, and they claim that they have this whole different concept of nurturing the bond between people and their little pet and their babies, fur babies, that is, by presenting a new way to interact with them. And what they did is they took a learning principle from the Montessori schools that demonstrate that open-ended materials motivate kids to be more creative and inquisitive when they play. Now, they gave some examples of how this would work in children, giving kids objects of nature or art supplies or dolls or cars. Those are the types of, I guess, open-ended toys for kids to play with. And they've kind of taken that same concept into their toys with Lamb Wolf. And they make enrichment toys for both dogs and cats, which I really like, because a lot of companies just, do dog or cat. But the idea here is really that you don't have to. You certainly can play with the toy with your pet, but your pet can automatically figure out how to play with the toy, and you just have to look at them. Go to Lamb Wolf. I think it's lambwolf.co. We will have the link in the show notes, and you can take a look at the beautiful designs. And these are the kind of toys that you don't have to pick up off the floor because they just look really nice.
Yeah, I did a quick Google and I'm looking at the toys. I'm like, man, my wife would love these. She might just buy them just to decorate the house with.
Yeah, and you can even buy packages of them. I think they've got a fruit basket where you get like a pineapple toy and a watermelon toy and an orange toy. Just also would make a really great gift if someone just got a pet. So yeah, check out Lamb Wolf Collective.
That's great stuff.
Q&As.
All right, Kristen, it's time for our favorite part of the show where we get to answer some questions that our audience has for us. Yeah, we gets to. What we gets to do is answer some questions from you all, which is an amazing opportunity for us and you. So, Kristen, you want to explain how folks can get their questions answered?
Absolutely. Just visit petsaddlife.org. And then I think you scroll. I'm sorry, I haven't been on that page for a minute here, but I think you just scroll down to am I telling him right? Is this right?
Yeah, petsaddlife.org/podcast.
Oh, sorry, I forgot the slash podcast.
petsaddlife.org/podcast.
Thank you, Chris. And then you scroll down to where you have the questions you can enter. You can either type in your question and submit it, or you can click the little voice button and you can just ask it yourself so that we can hear your voice and then we'll play your voice. And we haven't had one yet. What's going on? I think we should give a prize.
We've had one voice memo. So this is my challenge to you, dear listeners. Be brave. I want you to go to that website. I want you to record a question in your own voice, and I want you to listen to yourself on the radio. If I have to do it every week, if I have to listen to myself talk, which everybody knows, nobody likes the sound of their own voice. It's a thing. Nobody likes to listen to themselves. If I have to do it every week, you could do it once. For me and Kristen, your pals.
Please.
But without further ado, I've got a question here for you, Kristen, submitted by Lisa from Denver, Colorado. Hello, Lisa.
Hey, Lisa.
I'm interested in getting started with horses, but don't know where to begin. What are some essential steps and tips for a beginner like me?
Okay. Well, first of all, I love that you're asking this question because I actually had a horse many years ago. It's probably been 15, 18 years since I had a horse. And there is so much to learn. But what I did is, even though I've had a horse, I have a friend who is an actual horse trainer. She's a riding instructor. She's been doing this for her entire life. So I asked her to help us with this question. And she says, I gotta find it. Hold on. Okay, here it is. All right. First off, find a reputable place to take riding lessons. They usually teach a specific discipline, which would be either Western riding, English riding, or jumping. You know which direction you prefer before taking lessons. So do a little bit of research, maybe ask if you have friends who've ridden before. And if you don't have any experience at all, I would lean toward going with the Western style first. You can always branch out from there. Let's see, she says, if you love this and think you want to buy a horse after learning to ride, don't do it. Now, that's not what you think. She's not saying don't ever do it. She's saying lease a horse first for a year and understand the responsibilities of owning that horse before you actually do purchase one. Now, the lease can be set up in a lot of different ways, which allows you to learn about the responsibilities and care and expenses of horse ownership. And sometimes you kind of co-own this horse with other people, so that can make it more affordable too. And then thirdly, she says, ask for help. When finding a horse to purchase, there are a lot of horse traders, many of them that will take advantage of newbies. So it's really easy to buy a horse, but difficult to sell one that has health or behavior problems. So hopefully by the time you've taken lessons and leased for a while, you've made several good contacts and acquaintances that can steer you in the right direction for a happy match and a perfect partnership for you and the horse. So thank you to Belinda Smith for that answer.
Thank you, Belinda. And, we're 23 episodes in. It's the first time we had to use a lifeline. So
I had to phone a friend.
Yeah, we had to phone a friend on the horse question. I read that question and went, nope, I don't know. Just be nice to the horse. That's my advice. Like, if you're going to get a horse, be kind. I don't know. I've been around horses twice in my life. I've ridden a horse twice. And that's it. So
that would not be.
Wasn't particularly fond of it either time. Just not my thing.
Well, see, if we don't know the answer, we will find the answer for you.
We will find the answer. That's our promise to you, dear listener. If we don't know the answer, we will find it.
Okay, Chris. So our second question is from Eva in San Francisco. And this is a cat question, so I'm going to lob it your way.
All right.
Eva says, I've been looking for healthier options for my cat's diet instead of the regular commercial foods. What are some organic or real ingredient-based cat food options that are better for my cat?
This is a great question. And obviously there are an extreme number of cat food products out there that would meet those parameters. But rather than listing off a bunch of brands that you could probably just find by doing your own Google search, I'm going to talk about making your own cat food at home. Because that seems like a much better option for people who want to do that sort of thing. So the first thing I want to bring up is raw is not good. Don't feed your cat raw food. There's some products that are going to be raw and it'll be fine, but I've mentioned this on the show before. By domesticating the cats and feeding them cat food over the years, we've changed the way their digestive system works. They're not really cut out for raw anymore. So the best place to start is cooked lean meats, cooked chicken. Go ahead, grab some chicken, put it in your Instant Pot, saute it, fry it, whatever. What you want to avoid is using any type of seasoning. Any. No salt, no pepper, no sauces, nothing. Just, I've done this for Tiger before. They're her little treats. You just get a chicken breast and I just bake it just like that. And then when it comes out, I cut it up into little cubes and then I flash freeze it. And then I put it in the refrigerator to thaw back out. And she will eat those like they're treats. And it's one ingredient. It's chicken breast, but it's cooked. It's fully cooked all the way through. If you're going to do fish, vets really recommend that you keep your cat's fish intake to about 10% of their overall diet. So it's really not a good primary source of protein when it's just human grade cooked fish. You're really looking at that as being a treat. If your cat is more omnivoric, is that carnivore? Is that a word? They're more of an omnivore. I'm not sure omnivoric is a word. More of an omnivore. Some safe veg, cucumbers, broccoli, peas, carrots. Broccoli you're going to want to steam. The rest can be done raw. Not every cat likes vegetables. They don't necessarily need them. I've seen a lot of cats that enjoy carrots, though. And then for fruits, bananas and blueberries, both safe for cats to enjoy. So
and cats like to play with blueberries, too.
Yes, they do. And sometimes they get all messy, and it's really cute. They have a little blue face, like a little tiny Smurf. And that's adorable. So do it. But, you know, I could sit right here and go through the list of like Global Pet Expo exhibitors who have these incredible safe human grade single ingredient cat foods. They're out there. You could totally go find it. But if you really want to have control over what your cat takes in as their diet, those are some options. Keep it simple, never any seasoning, never any extra fats or oils. Keep it cooked unless it's one of those more basic fruits or vegetables, and just feed your cat what they like. If you're not sure if a food is safe, call your vet. But there's plenty of resources out there for you to explore and experiment with. But I feel like this question is rooted in wanting to have control over your cat's diet. So just like we cook for ourselves at home, there's nothing wrong with cooking for your pet.
That's great. I didn't know you cooked for your cat, Chris.
Just every now and again, and when I do like the bulk Sunday meal prep, and I'm throwing a bunch of chicken breasts in the oven, I'll do one separate for Tiger, especially if I know we're going to be away and leaving her with one of our friends or a family member pet sitting them. I always remind them, hey, there's I always cook for the guests too and say, hey, there's food for you in the refrigerator, but there's also food for Tiger.
Nice.
So because Tiger, she becomes a fiend when the food, as soon as that refrigerator opens, she becomes a fiend.
There.
She will get up on the table and try to eat your food. And sometimes she gets some and then she gets sick and then I have to clean up her throw up. So I tell, if you're going to eat at my house, just put a little chicken on the ground for Tiger and it'll distract her so that you can eat in peace. It's just a little technique there.
Good hack.
Some behavior control.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Eva and Lisa, for the questions.
Yeah,
and
thank you so much.
Pretty much a wrap for our show today, Chris. We had some great
episode
guests.
23. We are approaching August. I believe it's July 30th right now.
I can't believe it.
In the future, at present, it's always interesting when you record these things because it is not July 30th as I say these words. So in the future, at present, we're nearing August, getting through those summer months. I hope everybody is staying safe. We're going to have some amazing episodes coming up for you guys. So keep it locked. Tune in every Tuesday. Get some questions in. If you're listening to us online, leave a comment, leave a review, give us a 5-star rating if you like what we're doing. If you're seeing us on Instagram, hop in the comments, tell us how awesome we are, how much you appreciate our advice. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. And for keeping me honest, making sure I take a shower every morning before recording. Without you, I would be a disgusting slob. Thank you all for joining us each and every week. And until next week, stay good. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Don't be a Chris. And
Don't be a Chris.
Don't be a Chris. We'll see you next week here on Tuesday on the
Bye-bye.
Pal Podcast.